The Acer Team Story Cup. Here we are, super zoomed in, super intense. And as you can see in the top right, the score is now 4-3. That desperately large lead that Axiom had obtained earlier has been ever so closed by this one Zerg player spawning in the lower left corner of the map. Playing for Mouz Sports, it is Vortix.
His opponent spawning for Axiom Esports in the upper right-hand corner of the map. Can he take the victory for his team, close out the series? We'll have to see the Zerg player in the red trunks. It is Impact.
Yeah, a lot of you may have not seen Impact before. He recently performed incredibly well versus Quantic Gaming. Opened up their series with a 3-0, and of course, you know, when you go to toe-to-toe with players from Quantic Gaming, it means you're going toe-to-toe with people like Hyun. So Impact is no stranger to the ZVZ scene. But Vortix, Doom, I gotta say, I don't know what his opinion is, but in the times I've had the pleasure of casting Vortix, his ZVZ has been some of the best that I've seen.
I would expect that to be pretty true, considering he's, you know, one of the best EU Zergs there are. And there's a lot of competition for that title over there. You know, think of Damaga, think of Nurchio. The list goes on in terms of the competition that he's probably seeing on that EU server.
Well, the one thing, too, that I'm very excited about is Impact. I don't know if Vortix has played him before, right? Like, when you play against, on the Korean server, you play against Barcode, so you may have played him, you may have not. You don't know. You don't have a lot of good strategy going into this, because Impact is literally, bad pun and completely intended, made an impact onto the scene only just recently. He's not nearly as publicized. You're not going to have as many replays available to catch, to study up on your opponent, right? So, Vortix may be just coming into this trying to play your typical ZVZ, and not playing the player, but playing the race. And I think honestly, that's probably the best way he could play this out.
I agree. I think when you're playing your game, you're obviously going to be more comfortable. You're going to have more advantages that you're in opportunities that you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. You know, when you try to play reactively to try to prepare, that can often throw you out of your comfort zone. And I'm a big proponent of just sticking to a handful of builds and not really deviating much, like really using your macro to create these deviations that you see and reacting based on opportunity rather than, you know, helplessness or defense, something along those lines. And in TVC, you're often seeing one player scouting out some information and then completely changing their builds from there. It's just going to happen, but I think if you use your logical markers that you developed over the course of your career, especially in ZVZ, I think Vortix is going to be okay here, just going with the blanket strategy against Impact. But maybe he's got a focal point. Maybe he's going to determine what to do based on these two links that are about to get into the main base.
Well, big questions are going to remain in the fact that does someone decide at the 5-minute mark to go for that all-in sort of situation? But oh, that link will live actually. Nope, the other one doesn't though. My bad, I missed First Blood, guys. Rest in peace, First Blood. Here,
First Blood.
We'll make up for it.
Blood.
Yeah, well, whatever. Anyways, we got to keep an eye on this, because right around now is when drones are going to start to get cut if either of these players want to go super aggressive. No one's thrown in a Baneling nest yet, though, and even if they did at this point, I would almost call it defensive, but, you know, all it takes is that one inject to pop out, 20 links to be made, and all of a sudden you've got a huge mess to deal with, no matter where you are on the map.
Yeah, the one thing I want to note is that Vortix has gone for 2 gases in his main base, whereas Impact didn't go for any gas whatsoever, and that's what Vortix was looking for when he got that scout off into the main base. As a result here, he hasn't really gotten that much tech going yet. In fact, okay, gonna throw down an evolution chamber. I expected maybe to see Ling speed, but maybe that's not going to be his focus, knowing that Impact hasn't gone for any gases, won't be getting any tech anytime soon himself. And okay, it's going to be double evolution chamber. Rick, well, I like that move a lot.
Well, this is actually really intelligent out of Vortix. He's sort of semi-starting his wall off because the Overlord was sniped off. Typically, you'll clear out this Overlord with Queens, you'll drag them off creep, you'll miss injects, and it's worthwhile because you want to hide the fact that you've got some big flood of Lings coming. However, that's not the case for Impact. He chased it off, and Vortix, with this semi-wall off, you know, gonna play it safe, gonna make sure he doesn't get caught off guard by some sort of Ling all-in. Choke it off with Queens if he needs to. But man, going for the 1-1 melee upgrades, gonna definitely be playing Ling heavy for a little bit. Against Roaches, no less. I mean, Roaches in small numbers, hell, Roaches in big numbers. If the Lings surround, typically the Lings can actually win that fight. But if the Roaches are this big clump, backed against the wall, no surround, Zerglings don't stand a chance fighting that fight.
This as much is true, and going up to the lair is Impact, who has established his first 2 gas, who has established those gases at the natural, adding on an additional 2 in the main base, something that Vortix has not done yet at his natural. So with this Ling heavy style, of course, it's going to be more dependent upon the minerals, and you're right, Rifkin, it's going to come down to these engagements, and when you've got such good vision of the map as Zerg players do in the ZVZ matchup with the that are here, you know, it's going to be opportune for Vortix, because if he has that Ling speed and he sees a pack full of roaches move across the map, well, then maybe he'll decide that's when I want to take the fight out on the map rather than confined to the you know, small areas of my base where those roaches can really get a better position up against the walls.
Well, top of
Vortix,
yeah, top of everything's going on. We got Vortix spreading creep. We got Impact spreading creep, and I love this out of both players. This is going to give him so much extra vision of what's coming. And speed on creep versus speed off creep doesn't really matter in a ZVZ because you both benefit from it. In the meantime, though, that roach count, man, it's a little bit scary because you talk about these engagements in the middle of the map, but I don't think he's going to push anytime soon. And because of this, he's going to have that big ball of roaches. It's going to be so difficult to engage upon. Using the speed from the Zerglings is going to be their biggest asset, perhaps trying to run around the army of Impact, but...
Here we go. Vortix, the march of the Zerglings, 18 more in production across the field. 1-1 is just now finishing.
That timing, but look at that choke as well. He's going to kill a couple queens. He's going to kill a couple roaches in the front lines. Beautiful transfuses going off, but is it going to be enough? Backing up out of here, going to focus down the third. Could kill a spine crawler too if he wants to, but he's forcing the roaches out into the open. Exactly what he wanted, and now he gets that surround off. The queen is just massacred. The roaches are taking so much damage from this massive surround, but the wall is choked off one more time. And that's going to allow Vortix to take down the spine crawler, continue towards the third base. It can no longer be canceled. It will go down, but once again, the roaches baited out of position. Impact realizing a little bit too late his mistake, and we'll lose another queen. We'll lose some more roaches, and Vortix is dancing around masterfully.
Only 1 queen still on the field for Impact in the main base. Third base is going to fall, and you got to be thinking, what can Impact do to counter this? His upgrades are not equal still at this point. 1-1 still not done for him just yet.
Oh, he's getting choked so badly, and I think he's going to focus down the evolution chambers if he wanted. But yeah, he has just shut Impact down really hard in a big way by taking out that third base. Now he can just sort of contain outside, and again, Impact is in this rough spot where if he pushes against a wall, he can fight. But a clump of roaches, as we saw, if the surround goes down, so do the roaches.
Intense here for Impact, confined to 2 bases. Meanwhile, Vortix has got his third with drones just now getting there, saturating him up. So income is going to shoot up here for Vortix in situations. It's going to be better for him in terms of the units. But moving across the field is Impact now with these roaches, going to be getting those Zerglings back. And will he press the issue? Will he go even farther than this?
Vortix?
I don't think you can open yourself up to those potential counterattacks, Riff.
Well, as long as Impact doesn't push, if Impact pushes too far, right, Vortix will just flood through that hole in the natural opening and kill a lot of drones. So Impact can't leave his base for too long or go too far, but Vortix is transitioning into his own roaches behind this. Having this many Lings available, it's important he doesn't lose too many now, because this will be the cannon fodder that will allow his roaches to overpower his opponents. But Impact, this late in the game, is putting a Baneling Nest down, and these Lings are going to find an opening in the wall. They get past the roaches, they flood right on in. This is too many Zerglings to deal with, going to the main, going to the natural. Drones are going to be pulled, Zerglings are in hold position, and Vortix actually going to kill the queen at the very least, but doesn't get a lot of worker kills. But catches his opponent so desperately off guard with this.
Yeah, and this is more time that Impact doesn't want to be diverting into just trying to defend. He wants to be almost pushing his agenda forward, but
that almost didn't work. That almost worked out worse for Vortix. Only 8 workers killed, but he slaughtered the queens, which means no more injects for the time being. There's 1 queen here at the third, but that base wasn't even finished, so active injects are going to be hard to keep up with.
In terms of upgrades too, I want to take a moment to look at that here. Vortix about to finish up ground carapace level 2. Meanwhile, Impact only just started. His missile attacks level 2 is going to be done quicker here, so this may come into an opportunity for Impact in the upcoming roach attacks that should be happening soon. If he has that +2 attack weapons upgrade advantage, it could mean something here, but Vortix already on top of that, going to be going there for that himself.
Yeah, the roach count is
Burrow being researched by Impact.
Even numbers of roaches are they're gonna struggle enough to contend. Upgrades are so slightly different, it's not a big issue. It's gonna come down to positioning more than anything else. Getting that big concave off and not balling up too hard. But again, Vortix lost a lot of the cannon fodder, and he didn't get a lot killed for it, sadly. If he had that massive amount of Lings right now, he would decisively take this fight versus Impact. But now, sending a couple Lings to run through that hole once again, go towards the natural. These Lings with 1-1 will kill a couple drones for sure on their way out this time. But oh, getting distracted by that roach. And Vortix just backing off, going back home.
did look like one drone did fall. I think he may have wanted to do something at the third base there of impact, but really not getting opportunity with the large swell of roaches that are available for both these players. Pretty much even in terms of the roach counts here. 50 for impact, 52 for Vortix at this point in time. And looking at the drone counts, 54 to 56. So, you know, impact just adding on a couple more there. It doesn't look like he feels, you know, too comfortable to be saying, okay, I want to go total economic. But at this point, you're pretty much just adding on units. It's going to be all about the Remax, Rifkin. Who is going to be the one who has more units in this one place at the same time to clean up whatever their opponents got left? And it looks like Vortix is going to try to press the issue here.
Burrow's actually going to come in huge here. I'll talk about that in a second, but we got the big surround from Vortix, getting the concave that he needs, coming in from multiple angles. Impact stuck with us a bit of a ball. He had the initial roach lead, but now Vortix taking that lead due to that concave. Positioning is such a big deal on Defender's advantage. Will it be enough for Impact? He's struggling here, Doom. His roach count is diminishing. He just doubled, but of course those roaches got to come out of the main. Got to come from the natural, get down here to the third.
Well, still 10 seconds left for ground Paris level 2 for Impact 2, but I think he's done it here, Riff. I think he's pushed it back.
He held quite nicely. It looked really bad, but again, that Defender's advantage, man, it's such a big deal in ZVZ. However, 2-2 kicking in was really nice, and this is that Burrow I was talking about moments ago. Yeah. So we talked about after the fight. This is going to heal these roaches. This is the difference of Vortix having, well, not only less roaches at this point, but the damage he did completely just healed up, a non-issue. Now he's got a whole army of full health roaches instead of a half army of almost dead roaches.
Yeah, if this was Wings of Liberty, I'd be saying these players would be transitioning into their infestation pits soon to try to get some fungals down, but it is not. I think we're going to be stuck on these roach battles for the next foreseeable future here.
If we had Nurture or Blah here, we'd see the infestation pit for sure. But I think if it goes late enough, we'll certainly see one, but it's not going to be anytime soon. The roach numbers are going to be the big deal, but Impact is pretty much maxed out at this point. And Vortix, he's going to be forced to take a fight at home. Some Spine Crawler or a Spine Crawler for Impact in the third, but Vortix, he's going to need some spines of his own if he really wants to take a fight. He's got the Defender's advantage of reinforcements. I don't know if it'll be enough, but it is 2-2 versus 2-2, so the upgrades at the very least are even.
Upgrades are even, and it may come down to some of these counterattacks here. Oh, trying to press through is Vortex in the natural with that handful of lings. Meanwhile, Impact has got a little contingency of roaches over here to the east. Was going to perhaps try to push in, but didn't try to press the issue with that big swell of roaches moving across the field here. I reckon the one thing is that Impact's got his fourth base up slightly quicker than Vortix, and if Impact can make an impact with this attack...
Look at this spread. Look at the spread out of Vortix. He's not going to be caught in the same sort of desperate ball that Impact was, and Impact realized this, trying to spread on his own, but now got the roaches chasing against the roaches. The numbers are 66 to 61, and Vortix is going to get these initial hits off. Are we going to see Burrow Micro is going to be the big question. Looks like no for now, as Impact's numbers are dwindling, but so are Vortix's. Neither player really has the upper hand of positioning both players along this perfect line, but Impact snuck in 5 roaches to that third base while this was going on, and he's killed a lot of drones while this fight in the middle of the map is happening.
Yeah, that luxury that Impact was afforded in the last engagement where he was able to reinforce his army better was now given to Vortix.
Oh,
but in the meantime here, Rifkin, he moved in with those roaches at third base.
That Burrow control is really nice. Got that queen, and then Burrow the roaches to live a little bit longer. Gets another drone or two. Burrows one more time, and now Vortix has to wait for that overseer to clean this up. He doesn't know if there's more waiting or if this is all there is. That Burrow coming into play so nicely.
He's going to take 5 kills and just say, okay, call it a day from there. And in the meantime, he's adding on additional spine crawlers at the fourth base is Impact, and Vortix is actually taking advantage of the economy provided to him out of that fourth base quicker than Impact has here. So even going to contaminate down on that hatcher. I love this little plays here from Vortix doing a little bit intricate things just to try to get a smaller advantage in the game.
Well, of course, that does delay larva. I mean, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you get 3 or 4 of those off, suddenly your opponent's 2 like larva injects behind you. That's a big deal. But all right, again, another big engagement going to come down. It's currently 67 to 51 roaches. Vortix not in a good spot. Going to get surrounded on the lower half, and this is the sort of awkward concave that Impact really needs. He might be pincered in, but he's got the superior position and the superior numbers of roaches. Vortix, this is everything on the line for Mouz Sports. Can he hold this? It's looking really bad. Good game is called, and Vortix will go out. Impact will secure the 5-3 victory at the end of the day for Axiom.
Really well done there from Impact, showing why he was picked up to be Axiom Ace Zerg player. And congratulations to Axiom Esports taking it down. They now control their destiny if they defeat Team Liquid in the next their next series in the Acer Team Story Cup. Wow, Rifkin, what a day.
It really is, and that was a great series, and I want to thank you guys all for joining us for it. Now, unfortunately, that means that Mouz is stuck in this spot where they just got to cross their fingers and hope Axiom doesn't perform well versus Team Liquid. But Axiom, in the meantime, if you're an Axiom fan, you better cheer your hearts out for them when they go up against Team Liquid at the end of the month, because they're going to need it. They have to. Team Liquid is such a strong lineup. It's not going to be easy to take on players like Tasia. So, with that, guys, I'm going to run the last set of ads here while I get my laptop booted up so Doom and I can do subscriber shoutouts and all that good stuff. I want to thank you guys one more time for tuning in, and of course, follow the channel, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. We'll be back in a few minutes to give some love to our subscribers. One sec while I get my laptop, dude.